Hey, welcome back out to Stupid Guys Trade Stocks. I'm Dylan.
And I'm Vinny, and today we're going to talk about a trend that's been going nuts on like YouTube lately. This whole idea of a China economic collapse. If you haven't seen any YouTube thumbnail suggested to you about this, you're probably living under a rock somewhere or don't even know what the YouTube face is. Kind of Bill Belichick style. But we're going to talk about it, kind of give a little bit of a take of why you're seeing so much content about this.
Bill Belichick style. Oh my goodness.
Emotional damage.
All right, if you like this kind of entertaining stock market content where it's two super guys trying to figure everything out, give us a like and subscribe, and let's get started.
Two stupid guys trade stocks.
Let's not forget that this is an election year in China, right? This guy Xi Jinping, or the Winnie the Pooh of China, is up for election, going for a third term as president.
As someone who knows absolutely nothing about this, and this could be a very ignorant comment, but who cares? Are they real elections or no?
Yeah,
Because I would
but
assume they're not.
just within, it's not it's not a democracy amongst people. It's amongst like the Chinese Communist Party that he gets elected.
Okay, because I was thinking because in Russia, they have rules, but not really. It's still the same.
Yeah, exactly. But the whole idea behind what we're talking about here is you've seen all these headlines. You're getting pushed constantly headlines about the China economic collapse or the China economic uncertainty. Honestly, if you're not familiar with the topics here, yeah, I'd be surprised because this stuff has been beat to death, going all the way back to the Evergrande crisis, and now you're seeing all these headlines about how the whole Chinese economy is collapsing in the next 28 days or whatever. They're giving such definitive timelines. It's absolutely asinine. It's hard to have an idea exactly what's going on with the macroeconomic picture. Never mind when you're trying to be precise to the point of days. Good luck. Okay, there's no way that's gonna work out.
Yeah, it's super arrogant. Cas gains.
Yeah. I mean, to the point, this is when it's on trend. Stephan has done 2 videos on this topic in a week. All right, that's impressive, isn't it?
Yeah. Okay. All right. Did he call a specific day?
I'm not really sure if he called a specific day. I did watch both of his videos, but I don't remember him mentioning that.
Good call.
Andrei Jikh obviously is calling a specific day in his video here. Just wanted to say, just for Stephan here, this is my 25-cent iced coffee. Go ahead and smash the like button down below for the YouTube algorithm, like Graham would want you to do.
For
But this
people
stuff,
who don't know what that means, I also don't know what that means.
it's a Stephan joke, okay? He jokes about how millennials spend all their money on overpriced Starbucks lattes.
No, God, please, no,
25-cent iced coffee.
no.
Don't go to
Delicious
Starbucks,
iced coffee.
ladies and gentlemen. All right, go ahead.
So much more impressive than what's going on with the actual Chinese economy is what's going on with the actual YouTube algorithm here and regarding Chinese economic collapse. So this is a little screenshot from this kind of program called TubeBuddy. TubeBuddy is something that YouTube creators use where it allows you to see both the search volume for certain terms and also kind of correlates that with how much competition there is for those terms. Because it's hard to say break into a niche that's outside your realm. But the whole idea here is this helps you kind of tailor content that would work well and get you a lot of views for your channel. And if you look here, this is one of the highest scores thing I've ever seen as far as a topic on YouTube right now, the China collapse economy. You're talking about 88 out of 100, which is ridiculous. So getting a decent amount of search volume, and then there's not a lot of competition in this realm. So you should get most of the views coming towards, or a lot more proportion of the views, pie, if you will.
So this is something that we don't really use. We just kind of do videos on what we are already talking about. I'm sure it would be a lot bigger if we just only use this.
I know. You played the game. The other thing here, this is a cool website. This is Google Trends. So this allows you to kind of look at Google's data in terms of how much a certain search topic is trending. And this is 5 years of this search term here, China economy collapse, and you're seeing it right here, pulling back a little bit from all-time highs. This off the charts at one point in time, basically. Quite impressive as far as obscure economic thing about a certain country, and this is amongst U.S. So this is, I probably should have done. I'd be interested to see what it looks like globally if China actually believes that they're having as much of a financial issue as the U.S. perceives them to, based upon this search term.
Or not even U.S., just YouTubers. One
Yeah.
YouTube guy just made a video. They're like, "This sounds good."
Yeah. Well, man, that video did well. You're getting so much content pushed out about this. Like the quality starts to become a little bit questionable too. I've never been to this website Finbowl before, but I've read probably through at least 20 articles or so about the whole Chinese economy collapse thing, trying to get a little idea of what sort of topics they're talking about. But this one was a funny one because I caught this absolute glaring basic economic error, and I was just like, wait, what? Like people are publishing this sort of crap? Like people are reading this stuff. And as the stupid guy on YouTube. But the sentence here caught me by surprise. China's central bank cut a key interest rate, which was true, representing a second cut this year, which is also true, withdrawing cash from the banking system. Nope.
This is a good example of like once you get to like a high level of something, and then you don't realize like how much power you have, or that really no one knows what they're doing. We're all just kind of figuring it out as we go.
Yeah.
It's like as a kid, you always think like adults always have all the answers, and then you're an adult and you're like, nah, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know when I became adult. I just realized people stopped telling me I was so young and just a baby anymore. That's how you become an adult, I think. Just realize it's been a few years since someone told you that. So yeah, exactly. In reality, this actually is stimulatory for the economy. But the second paragraph here is a little bit more on point here. Analysts believe that divergence of policy compared to other major economies rising, which has to do with the government's determination to support a slowing economy. Okay. That is indeed true. They're in a very different position than the rest of the world.
And
so
this is
Reuters. This is China's inflation. Compared to the U.S., what was our most recent number? 8.3%, something like that, right? We're well over 8%.
Yeah, but okay, you can't. So it's data coming out of China, and it's not like verified. So how do we know that anything that we are looking at is truly accurate?
Yes, says the Alibaba shareholder.
It's different. It's a whole different thing.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Honestly, it's one of those things. I never. I'm not a conspiracy theorist guy because at the end of the day, you just it's not practical to have that much of data kind of hidden and obscured. I always like the saying about 3 people can keep a secret if 2 of them are dead. That line. That's literally what it comes down to. And I think about conspiracy theorists because it's not possible to hide this sort of data without so many people being involved that someone's going to spill it. All right, it's hard to do that.
I'm very excited for the comments on this one.
Yeah. Okay.
Also, the Earth is definitely flat.
I'm going to bring that up in a different video about the flat earthers. It's an amazing world. But they're in a very different place, China is, than the rest of the world. Their inflation hasn't taken off in China, partly because they've been doing these zero COVID lockdowns and they've limited their economy to a degree where they just haven't seen this runaway inflationary pressure. If you see a headline, though, you'll see that it says highest rate of inflation in China in 2 years, which is true, but it's still very low compared to the rest of the world. So they're in a place where they can be stimulatory to their economy. They're not having to undergo a quantitative tightening like the Western world is as far as the U.S. and Europe and that sort of stuff. We're in a very different position than China is. The other thing that I think is kind of people overplay or kind of forget about a little bit here is you're looking at GDP. China saw this tremendous growth between 2020 and 2021. Almost kind of wonder if that's more of a pull forward effect. And now you're having to deal with it's going to come down a little bit from the peak, but still look at where 2022 is projected to be compared to 2020. That's still significant growth. If this was you just switched 2021 and 2022 around, this would be still showing a tremendous growth kind of pattern for the economy overall.
Yeah, for sure. It's just like a lot of companies are having a hard time matching year-over-year estimates for earnings because 2021 was such an absurd year. Just like Facebook, they still had pretty solid earnings. It just the percentage wasn't as cool, right? Mm-hmm. Because instead of 30%, it's 6%. It's still really good as long as you switch the years.
Yeah, I know it's ridiculous, right? Because you can just make anything tell you anything you want it to tell you if you start switching around data. But always have to kind of look at this stuff with a skeptical eye. And yeah, they certainly have issues. There's the news stories about some of those small kind of local Chinese banks that are having some liquidity crisis. Now that seems to be more indicative of fraud than it is truly a China-wide banking system error that's going to lead to a total collapse. It doesn't look like it's headed that way. But I get people nervous about that. The other thing you're kind of seeing here too is their system of how real estate was financed and purchased in China. It was bound to run into issues at some point in time where you're almost building this giant real estate Ponzi scheme where you're using money from the newest round of investors to finish the properties for the prior round of investors. Like that's not sustainable long term, and it's
Not at
completely
all.
asinine
Yeah.
to think it would ever work, right?
Yeah,
So
it's absolutely not sustainable at all. It's going to be a problem. The thing is are we early? Because people are trying to time this, right? Like Michael Burry, he's right a lot, but he's also wrong for like the first like year and a half or 2 years of his claim before he's right? So the issue is timing here.
the other kind of interesting aspect that I thought, like you could even spin this into like a bullish thing for Alibaba, if you want to be completely ridiculous and biased, is that, there's so much of the wealth in China that's locked up in real estate that with this kind of phase where people are starting to readjust their mindset towards real estate in China, that maybe you could see a tailwind for equities as Chinese citizens kind of pivot towards investing in alternative asset classes and less investing in real estate. I mean, that's a thought, especially with Alibaba now doing this dual listing, which theoretically should allow better access for people that are Chinese residents. But I don't know. I thought it was an interesting idea.
It is an interesting idea. All right, guys, let us know what you're thinking in the comments if you think this is kind of overblown or legit.
Yeah. See you in the next one.